Passing 10,000 more police officers on the beats, that's what you do if you're Prime Minister. How much is it going to cost?
300 million.
£300 million.
Yep.
Diane Abbott was just on the radio earlier saying it would be 80 million. In fact, she got a bit confused saying 300,000, then 80 million, but you're saying it's 300 million.
She corrected the figure, and that's the figure, and it will be paid for by not going ahead with the cuts in capital gains tax.
And is it a bit embarrassing that your Shadow Home Secretary got the numbers wrong? They're obviously trying to get voters to put their trust in you in this election.
Not at all. We've corrected the figure, and it will be absolutely clear now, today, and in the manifesto. I'm not embarrassed in the slightest.
Now, these cuts to capital gains tax, which you would be reversing, you say that would save £2.7 billion. So there'd be money left over for some other things as well.
Yes.
You talked about reversing cuts to disability benefit, for example.
Can I ask you to hold a little? The manifesto isn't published yet, and it's going to be published very soon, and you'll get all of the information there, but all of our proposals are costed and funded.
For example, John McDonnell promised to reverse cuts to disability benefit. I'm sure a lot of people on that benefit will be interested to know your plans. Are you still planning to use the money for that?
Yeah, listen, it will all be costed and funded, including what John McDonnell proposed. After all, John McDonnell is going to be the author of that section of the manifesto anyway.
Including teacher shortages, which you also promised to pay for?
Listen, it's all funded. Don't worry about that, because it's a question of what we as a nation do. Do we continue cutting police numbers, or do we put police back on the street? And do we support PCSOs, or do we continue to see them reduced? I'm just talking to some local residents around here, and the story they're telling me is one you could hear on almost every suburban area or community around the country, where crime has increased, where antisocial behaviour has increased by a combination of loss of youth facilities, combination of lack of police officers, combination of police only arriving when there's a serious incident rather than being part of the community. When, under the previous Labour government, we had PCSOs over the whole country, we had safer neighbourhoods teams over the whole country, crime fell, but above all, cooperation and respect for the police grew, because they saw the police as a part of the community rather than just arriving when there's a big problem. And I think this is an important development that we're putting forward here.
Mr. Corbyn, we've got new types of crime now, cyber crime, for example, online fraud. Is this the best use of resources, Bobby's on the beat?
Well, it's both, isn't it? Because on the streets, we don't want antisocial behaviour. We want people to behave properly, obviously, but we also want young people to have positive things to do. So therefore, looking at the numbers of youth services that are available, youth workers that are working for councils is important. Yes, of course, there are other crimes as well. There's identity theft, there's cybercrime. There are serious issues like that. And here in Southampton, being a university town, an industrial town and a big port, there are also big complications surrounding that. So the police are obviously very stretched here.
Now, we've just had the 20th anniversary of the New Labour's landslide victory. Are you taking up Tony Blair's mantle of tough on crime, tough on the causes of crime?
Well, I wouldn't use those words, because those were the words used in 1997. I would say support for communities and try and bring about a sense of involvement and security within communities. It isn't quite as soundbite-ish as 1997, but then this is 2017. But
You're
yes,
not a soundbite-ish Labour leader?
Not really, no. I'm not really into soundbites. I'm much more into a thought process on these matters.
Now, this is a
That's not a criticism, by the way, in case you want to run a story on that.
This is a seat you're obviously hoping to keep
Indeed.
at the election, maybe even pick up some more in Southampton. It's quite a modest event here. Are you hoping for a bigger turnout?
No. I came here to talk to some local residents, and that's what I've done. And so I'm not worried about that in the slightest, because I've had some very good, informative discussions. And sometimes when you meet a small number of people, actually you learn a lot more.
And on the cost, 300 million is the final answer. That's how much 10,000 police officers will cost.
Third time, yes, you're okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.